threats to our democracy. As President, I undertake to guarantee that the 2024 general elections will be conducted peacefully, transparently, and credibly. The success of our democracy hinges on the integrity of our electoral process. It is our collective responsibility to protect this process from any form of manipulation, interference, or intimidation, including the pernicious spread of false information. As we prepare for the
Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufu-Dampare, has urged the public to support the police when they pursue individuals who engage in peddling disinformation and misinformation. According to him, the phenomenon is a potential threat to the security of the state.
In this presentation, very confused, in a sense that I think the first panel has done our job for us in terms of looking at the solutions that we're supposed to talk about. So I've been put in a very difficult situation to make a statement at all costs. So forgive me if I don't meet your expectations. But the point has been made clear. Misinformation, disinformation, they are national security threats. We should internalize that and do so with the speed of light. We shouldn't come and look at this as yet another conference, another summit, just to gather ideas and walk out. We should walk out of this place changed, as people going out there to make a difference when it comes to fighting disinformation, misinformation, which in other ways, in other environment called infodemics.
Well, let's move away from that and onto some labor issues. The Kolebu chapter of the Ghana Federation of Allied Health Professionals has commenced the withdrawal of services in protest of management's refusal to grant allied health professionals a director position in the top management of the hospital. The federation, which comprises some 23 different professions at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, further indicated it will, in cooperation with other chapters across the country, declare a nationwide strike on August 7, 2024, should its demand not be met. Joining us on Zoom is the chairman of the Ghana Federation of Allied Health Professionals, Kolebu chapter, Dr. Francis Kwache Entry, to discuss this further. Good afternoon, sir. You're welcome to ABC News GH. We want to find out.
Good afternoon, madam.
Why is the Director of Allied Health Professionals so important to your group? Someone will say it's just the position.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I want to say a big thank you to the entire production team. So why is a director position important in our function as professionals? The first one has to do with the output of the work. So the director is at management level. They are involved with the day-to-day run of the hospitals. And so for us to be able to give out quality results, for example, it is your director who will liaise with the professionals in terms of what is needed as input to be able to get the output of quality services to our clients. Without a director who understands the issue, you won't get quality. So quality is at the forefront of what we are demanding. And I think that is what Ghanaians actually deserve, quality services.
But have you considered how the impact of this strike, the impact is going to have on the patients of the hospitals, especially those who are under referrals?
So that we have considered our patients, and that is why, if you recall, we have taken appropriate steps to prevent that. We had a news briefing on Wednesday, and we were expecting leadership to actually do the right thing. So if you look, from Wednesday up to, let's say, next week Wednesday, where we will withdraw our services entirely, we have some 1 week where leadership can actually do something about the situation. And so we have the patient at heart.
But if you're saying you have the patient at heart, and I mean from Wednesday till now, then if I fall sick on Thursday, I have nothing to do with the director position you're looking for. I have nothing to do with the management. I'm just a sick person who's coming to the hospital to seek treatment, and I come and then you're on strike. What happens to me? Because you said you've taken appropriate steps. If you say appropriate, does it mean that you have people on standby? As much as you're on strike, there are people there who will be attending to the sick who will still be coming. Because take note, during the period which your management has not attended to your demands, people will still fall sick. So what happens when they come to the hospital?
So for now, what we are saying is that we shouldn't even get there in the first place. And it is management's responsibility to make sure that any patient who comes to our facility get the services we provide. And so if up to Thursday, patients are not getting the services, the blame should go to management and the board.
The blame should go to management, but in this case, I believe that, once you are the ones calling on the strike, we can still hold you guys accountable in that sense. But beyond the strike, are you willing to negotiate with the board to agree on something?
We have met the board, and their proposition to us was inadequate. The board has admitted that we deserve a directorate. And so they are giving us the directorate. In fact, the word directorate is not even our issue now. We say appoint a director. You earlier on advertised for the position of a deputy director of medical affairs, into bracket allied health. And we said that no, we are getting out of the medical directorate. We deserve a director, as has been done for the Ho and the Tamale Teaching Hospital. So give us a director. You said you will give us the directorate, but you are going to appoint a deputy director. And that is where the disagreement falls. We said, no, we don't need a deputy director. We need a substantive director looking at our complexity as Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. And so you see that the management and the board, actually, we all agree that we need a directorate. The directorate can be created now. The director can be appointed now, but they are saying they will offer us first a deputy director. What we think, looking at our complexity, we don't need a deputy director for a start. We need a director, and then later on we can add up with deputies.
Well, thank you so much for your time. We do hope you still consider the fact that people will still be coming to the health facilities for treatment during this period of your strike. And we actually want to believe that management will do something. But, do have a percentage or a number of the staff who will be available to attend to the people, because we can't hold the health of people to ransom as much as you're demanding something very important from the management. Thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure.
Well, moving away from that and straight to the Electoral Commission. They've opened nominations for the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. And this happened on Monday, September 9th. Now, in a press release issued on Thursday, August 1st, the Commission stated that this process is in accordance with Regulations 6, 7, and 9 of the 2020 Public Elections Regulation. That's CI. Now, interested candidates are expected to download nomination forms from the EC's website starting Friday, August 2nd, which is today. The filing fee for the presidential candidates is set at 100,000 Ghana cedi, with a reduced fee of 75,000 Ghana cedi for female candidates and persons with disabilities. And for parliamentary candidates, the filing fee is 10,000 Ghana cedi, with a reduced fee of 7,500 for female candidates and persons with disabilities. Well, joining us on the line is Solomon Owusu, who is a spokesperson for the Movement for Change, to tell us about their preparedness towards the general elections. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Solomon, for joining.
Thank you for having me at the ABC News.
Well, the EC has opened nominations for candidates for this year's general elections. How's your party gearing up for the election?
As you rightly know, as you are rightly aware, it is a movement that is supporting an independent candidate. So we have been very much ready since Mr. Alan Chamati declared his intention on the 25th of September 2023 to contest as an independent candidate. And so we welcome the decision by the EC to come up with a date for the nomination or the filing, and we're looking forward to that. We have our members across the length and breadth of this country, so we would be able to amply satisfy the very conditions that they have put ahead of us to be able to make Mr. Alan Chamati eligible to contest in election 2024.
Well, starting today, which is Friday 2nd, they actually, candidates are expected to download the nomination forms. I believe the date is already out. So have you, has your candidate downloaded, or are you yet to do the download?
We have downloaded it. We are going through the necessary protocols. And what I can assure the people of this country is that come December 7, 2024, Mr. Alan Chamati will be one of the candidates on the ballot paper to be voted for, and we believe that Ghanaians will surely vote for him, as he has amply demonstrated that he has what it takes to turn around the fortunes of this country.
Well, definitely. So then you guys actually have put preparations towards the whole thing. Now, we're barely 5 months to the elections, and we've not seen a running mate for Alan Chamati. What's your plan?
The thing is, when you have a credible and a competent and a formidable candidate, you can decide to choose your running mate 2 days into the elections if the law of the land permits. But definitely we have a very credible candidate that is loved by all, so we have no pressure at all whatsoever to be pushed into nominating a running mate anytime soon. However, we will definitely come up with a running mate who is suitable right before we are the deadline for submitting the names. And so it is only these political parties that have nominated or elected candidates that are not credible in the eyes of the Ghanaians who are having to fall on their running mates, which in actual fact the running mates are not going to be on the ballot, but because the leading candidates are not credible enough, emphasis was placed on the running mate. So Mr. Alan Chamati will nominate, but for now he is the man of the moment, and so we have no difficulty at all.
Now, when you actually look at the filing fees, 100,000 Ghana cedi, that's for presidential. Do you think this is reasonable?
I have been questioning the motive for the Electoral Commission always taking money from Ghanaians that want to contest to lead this country. I mean, this is a commission that is always given a budget to run their activities. So on what basis are they taking the money? And the money that they are taking, what are they going to use it for? Going forward, they must not let money be a determining factor as to who can contest and who cannot contest. After all, we all pay taxes, and it is these taxes that we allocate some to the commission. If the commission thinks that the budget allocation to their office is not enough, they must make a case for it so that any qualified Ghanaian that wants to serve is allowed to do so. So I am qualified, but because I don't have the 100,000, I must not be part of the contest. That's what the Electoral Commission wants to tell us. I disagree. I disagree entirely, and it is about time we begin to question the motive for charging candidates that wants to lead this country.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, you just had us speak to, he's actually the spokesperson. He's from the Movement of Change and the communications director for the CPP. Also, don't forget that we also made mention of the fact that the EC has actually opened nominations for the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. And I mean, the nominations actually will be open on September 9th, which is Monday. But then as of today, the platform for you to be able to download and file your nomination is actually open. So some political parties, I mean, with their candidates have actually done that, and then the Movement for Change, Alan Shemanting, they have also done that. We just spoke to their key person. He also says he has issues with the filing fees because he feels that money should not determine whether you get the right to lead the nation. If you feel that you're capable, you feel that you have it, you'll be able to move on to it. Well, still in the same issue of election, the EC, the Electoral Commission's MOPAP voter registration exercise marks its second day, and it's scheduled to end on Saturday, August 3rd, 2024. Now, the 3-day exercise is to give opportunity to persons who turn 18 years after the recent limited voter registration, and those who could not register previously to have their names captured in the voters register. My colleague Jennifer is at the Ayawaso West Wogon EC office to give us updates happening at the center. Hello, Jennifer. Well, we'll still definitely be taking more updates from Jennifer, but moving away from that into the government's business. Now, the Majority Caucus in Parliament has urged Speaker Alban Bagbin to recall Parliament to allow for discussion on pending government business. This appeal was made in response to the Speaker's decision to adjourn the House indefinitely. In a letter addressed that was undersigned by Majority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Marking on Wednesday, July 31st, he outlined some key items, including 9 bills and the financing agreement between government and International Development Association of the World Bank.
Constraints of Mr. Speaker, given the fact that the first Deputy Speaker is out of the jurisdiction, the second Deputy Speaker is also out of the jurisdiction. However, our rules permit or allows us to have a member presiding. So I still hold the view that Mr. Speaker could still have traveled for the NCSL program in the United States. I, for instance, I am billed for that travel, but I don't think that it is more important than government business that I'm undertaking. We are, with immediate effect, going to engage our caucus with the sole aim at getting the necessary consent of members to procure their signatories to recall the House in accordance with law. So expect to see a recall request from a constraint of Mr. Speaker, given the
Well, we've been joined on the line by Samuel Obing, who is the Executive Director of Parliamentary Network Africa, to have more discussions on this development. Good afternoon, Samuel. You're welcome to ABC News GH. Well, I want to find out, how does this impasse affect the government's capacity to address social, economic and environmental issues, particularly when there are some 9 key bills before the House for consideration?
Well, the House always has a lot of, work that needs to be done. And we know that Parliament has very limited time for the tenure of this current Parliament to expire. It is our expectation that, both majority and minority side will build the necessary consensus to allow for maximum completion of the work that needs to be done. However, it's also important to note that Parliament must learn the useful lessons from this ongoing situation, where leaders of government business in Parliament do not wait until the very final minute to start piling up a lot of things for Parliament to look at under the cover of the night, in the very final dying embers of their work. Because you look at the work of Parliament, and there are days when they are very free. There are days when they got to close early because there's not much work to be done. And I think there is a need for that balancing act to get a lot of the work going. However, like you have also indicated, there are many of the issues that if this Parliament does not deal with before its tenure expires, it will certainly affect various stakeholders. And so the House, both sides of the leadership of Parliament, as in the speakership, the leadership of the parliamentary service, needs to have a thorough thinking through and be able to prioritize. Of course, it goes without saying that not all of the things that are on the agenda will be able to be completed before Parliament fully retires or this Parliament has its tenure expiry. But they've got to do some prioritization so that the very critical issues can be dealt with. If it means through a recall, if it means through their regular sitting sometime in October, they've got to prioritize, minimize on the partisan politicking that goes on, ensure that the real work gets put on the front burner so that much work can be completed as quickly as possible.
Well, that's very true. Now, what are the potential consequences of not reconvening Parliament for an extraordinary session as requested by the majority leader?
So that's the first point that I made, that we could have avoided this extraordinary sitting. Parliament has a calendar at the beginning of every year, and so everybody in Parliament knows that we will usually resume at this date and we'll retire at this date. We'll go on recess for this period, come back at this date. Both majority and minority are aware, and so they must avoid the situation where they leave all of the work to the very final minute, and then this work does not get completed, and then we have to be burdened with recalls. As it stands now, truly, there are some work that requires that Parliament deals with, for which if Parliament will have to wait until October to come back for that short 1 month window when members of Parliament are crisscrossing their constituencies for purposes of campaigning, that may be too little too late. So yes, it is imperative for the House to convene much earlier or reconvene much earlier to look into some of the issues. For some of them, the House's inability to do that will have dire consequences. But for others also, I think it should serve as points of useful lessons, for the institution of Parliament and for those who handle government business in Parliament, to desist from that attitude of last-minute piling up of tasks in a way that makes productivity low.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Sammy Obeng, for your time. Well, Mr. Sammy Obeng happens to be the Executive Director for Parliamentary Network Africa, and he made some key points on the fact that he feels prioritization is important because having 9 bills actually waiting for consideration in this period. So what if they don't have an extraordinary session? We don't need to actually pile all these things. And as he mentioned, there are days that they do close early. So if he feels they prioritize their time very well, these bills should not be piled up. They should be able to take enough time to look at the things as and when they come so that we don't need to be having extraordinary sessions to look at some time. And he mentioned that in October, that's a very short window because yes, indeed, we'll be gearing up for elections and most of these MPs will be running to their constituencies trying to, garner votes and get the support of the people for their respective parties. So definitely it will be a very short window for them and it wouldn't be a good time for them to be chasing after these bills. So my colleague Jennifer has joined us on Zoom, and like I mentioned earlier, she's at the Yawaso West Wogon EC office to give us updates that's happening at the center. Hello Jennifer, what can you report? Jennifer, could you please position yourself properly and then tell us what you can report? Well, I think she's trying to position herself and then give us updates happening at the Ayawaso West Wogon. Don't also forget that, yes, the mopping up exercise is still ongoing and today happens to be the second day and it's actually scheduled to end tomorrow, which is Saturday, 3rd August 2024. It's a 3-day exercise that's actually to give opportunity to persons who turned 18 after the recent limited voter registration exercise. So if you are not yet 18 and now you've turned 18, you get the chance to actually go and register and then have your name enter the voters register. Now for those also who could not register previously, they can also get the opportunity to have their names captured in the voters register. Well, as you can see on the screen, so these are visuals from earlier today when our colleague Jennifer definitely went to Ayawaso West to Wogon to actually look at what's happening at the mop-up exercise. And you see people are seated there. I mean, they've lined up, they're ready to actually register. And all this is towards the December 7th elections. Definitely something that everybody definitely has to show up and cast their votes. So we're still trying to get Jennifer on the line. We're moving on. As you can see, people are moving up and down, and I'm sure people have been there from morning because some people are standing around and they're just waiting, and there's definitely a queue. So you move in order, you go, you get your details captured. Yes, this is from within the facility. What we had earlier was from outside. This is from within the facility. Yes, so you can see them being directed. Some have papers in their hands, definitely forms, questions you need to answer so they capture the right details into the system, because this is very important. But we're moving away from that and to other stories. So we're moving straight. The U.S. Embassy has announced effective August 16th, it will shut down the old visa appointment platform. The embassy say it will transition to a new visa service provider, which will be launched on August 26th, 2024. While access to the current visa service provider will cease on August 16th, applicants will not be able to make new visa appointments, cancel or reschedule existing appointments, or access customer services. Now, here's the American Consul General to Ghana, Elliot Fertig, addressing the media.
Appointment system. We know there's always a lot of interest in visas, and especially in our non-immigrant visa system, and we want to make sure that our visa applicants and the Ghanaian public generally is aware of this change and what they may need to do, if anything. The most important point to make is that we are going to be moving to a new visa services provider on August 26th, 2024. However, and this is probably the most important thing I'm going to say today, all existing non-immigrant visa interview appointments remain valid. That means that if you currently have a visa interview scheduled with the U.S. Embassy, it is still valid, and you should plan on attending the appointment on the interview on the day of the appointment. But I wanted to give, that being said, I do want to give some information about upcoming dates and what people should be aware of if they have an upcoming visa interview or are planning on trying to make an upcoming visa appointment. The first thing is that on August 16th, the old appointment system website will no longer be accessible for changes. What that means is that you will no longer, starting on the morning of August 16th, you will no longer be able to schedule new appointments. You will not be able to make visa fee payments, and customer service will not be accessible.
Well, moving away from the visa story, we're going straight to my colleague Jennifer. She's definitely joined us on the line. That I mentioned that she's actually at the Ayawaso West Wogon EC office, and she's going to give us updates happening at the center. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello, Epiphania.
Yes, what can you report?
Thank you, Epiphania. So I'm here at the EC Center that is located at Ridge, where registration is ongoing for Ayawaso West Wogon, Ayawaso North, Polyclote, Ayawaso Central, and Ayawaso East. Well, for this particular center, they had issues in the morning. They had power outage in the morning. So today, instead of starting at 7 a.m., they started at 8:30 a.m. due to the power challenges. And yesterday, it's reported that they had issues with some of the registration machines, but were replaced in the course of the day. Currently, as I'm speaking to you, it's been over 40 minutes and the network is down, so registration has come to a halt here at the EC Center. But with the Ayawaso West Wogon yesterday, just for the EC Center, they were able to register 63 people here at the EC Center. But across board, for all the other 5 centers for Ayawaso West Wogon, which constitute the EC Center here at Ridge, where I'm speaking to you from, Gempa, Legon Campus, GID, and prisons, in total, they were able to register 475 people at the end of the day. But that was yesterday, sorry. They registered 475 people. But today, when they were about to start their day, they realized the number had increased to 476, which means there was an error. We don't know where that error came from, but they have reported this incident to the EC, and they are waiting on the EC to rectify this. With the Ayawasu North here, registration here, just for the EC center here at Bridge, yesterday they were able to register a total number of 33 people. That was for yesterday. And for Ayawasu East, they were able to register 22 people yesterday. That is 13 males and 9 females. But the Ayawasu East here at the EC office Bridge, they had issues with 11 applicants yesterday. The issues were some of them were not yet 18, but they turned up to register claiming they were 18, and some were also not Ghanaian. So they were able to deal with those issues. With Ayawasu Central, yesterday they were able to register 56 people, that is 30 males and 26 females. And with Ayawasu Central, they also had issues with 3 applicants who were not able to register due to network challenges. With Koliklote here at the EC Center, they were able to register 50 people yesterday. That is 34 males and 36 females. Overall, the turnout yesterday as compared to today is better. When I spoke to some of the representatives and some of the party officials, they are saying that the turnout compared to yesterday is better. Even though the day has not ended, they are hoping that more people will turn up. But currently, as I'm speaking to you, registration has come to a halt because there are some technical issues happening currently. Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Jennifer. Well, as you heard, she actually made mention of some of the challenges that they are facing over there. I mean, from power outages to some of the equipment giving them issues, and then they having an error overnight. I mean, you have an additional number from 65 to 765 to 766. So they actually have reported that as well. Well, we'll take a short break right here. We'll be right back. Well, let's go into the world of business. The Minister for Trade and Industry, K.T. Hammond, has announced plans to lease the Comenda Sugar Factory to West African Agro Limited, an Indian-based renewable term of 15 to 20 years. Now, the minister explained that this initiative is part of broader efforts to boost the local sugar industry, reduce sugar imports, and also create jobs. Now, the $35 million factory was inaugurated by former President John Mahama in May 2016 and was funded by the Indian Exim Bank to reduce sugar importation and create jobs for about 7,300 people. However, operations halted due to various challenges. Meanwhile, the Trade Minister K.T. Hammond criticized Mahama's government for commissioning a factory that was haphazardly built.
A lot of things went wrong with this factory here. I've said it many times. Those of you who will recall, in answer to a question in the Parliament, I explained the genesis of this and why it hasn't worked, how much money has been expended in this edifice, and how much should have actually been the actual cost, and how much government of MPP has had to invest to get it running. I told the whole country that a factory of this capacity, even now, should be costing about $18 million or so dollars. Even now. 2014, 2015, thereabout, when it was constructed, it shouldn't cost $36 million. But this was built at a cost of about $36 million per time that I've indicated. And even that, it was so haphazardly done to the extent that it simply could not.
Well, moving away from that and into the world of sports. every day here on ABC News as we provide you with the latest updates on the nations vying for the most gold medals at the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris. Here are the top 5 countries with the most gold medals after 90 of 329 completed events. And we're here with China still at number 1. Now, they've actually won 11 gold medals and then 7 silver medals and 6 bronze medals, a total of 24. USA is in second place with 9 gold medals, 15 silver medals and 13 bronze medals, and that makes a total of 37. France comes third with 8 gold medals, 11 silver medals, 8 bronze medals, and that gives them a total of 27. We also have Australia after with 8 gold medals, 6 silver medals and 4 bronze medals, a total of 18. Now coming in 5th place is Japan with 8 gold medals, 3 silver medals and 5 bronze medals, and that's a total of 16. Also moving on, we have the International Olympic Committee is facing backlash for allowing a biological male to compete as a woman in the Paris Olympics. Now, Imaine Khalif, an Algerian boxer, competed in the women's 66 kg category at the 2024 Paris Olympics, despite being a biological male. Khalif was previously disqualified from the 2023 World Championships after failing a gender eligibility test, which revealed that she has XY chromosomes. XY is the male chromosomal makeup, while female is XX. Now, the match ended quickly, with Carini quitting the fight after just 46 seconds due to 2 powerful punches from Khalif. Now, Carini was visibly upset. She was falling to her knees and she cried out that this is unjust, as you can see on your screens. But moving back and away from the world of sports, let's go straight back to the election. So we're talking about the EC as they began the mop-up registration exercise. And I mean, we have on the line, joining us on the line, Mr. Sylvester, and he's here to give us more insights on this. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to ABC News GH.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
It's good to have you. The EC has opened nominations for this year's election and the deadline is September 13th. Now, is the CPP ready to go through the vetting process and select a candidate to file for your party before the deadline, considering the time constraints?
Wow, thank you so much, for the opportunity, and what a great question you ask. That if the CPP is, ready, considering the time constraints. We're not only saddled with time constraints, but we also have a lawsuit that is challenging, the very entity purporting to be holding the, the talked about choice of a flag bearer. Okay, because that entity is acting unconstitutionally. In fact, they call themselves the Interim Management Committee or the Independent Committee. And they have set aside the constitution of the party. So in that regard, there's a lot of stuff brewing in the party, and the very attempt to nominate a flag bearer is being challenged. And so I don't know about meeting the deadline from the Electoral Commission.
I mean, is the party gearing towards preparations for the elections?
Well, I mean, there's a lawsuit, you understand? And then talking about the party gearing up for elections, you see, over the past 4 years, we've had an executive that was not able to organize the party, okay, until the very last minute, okay? And then what happens is you have people setting aside the constitution of the party in a bid to present a presidential candidate without the supporting infrastructure downstream, i.e. polling stations, electoral area structures, constituency level structures, regional level structures, and so on. Okay, and for the CPP, those structures do not exist as a matter of fact. Okay, now I have an obligation and a fiduciary duty to tell the truth about the state of the CPP and not to do propaganda about our chances, so that we need to be sitting up and adhering to our constitution, because the constitution of the CPP prescribes a way to victory. Okay, that is the same type of constitution with few amendments that was used by President Kwame Nkrumah and the CPP to win 4 consecutive elections. So we are saying that anybody that comes on board that wants to set aside the constitution is in fact committing some kind of sacrilege, and indeed is conducting a dress rehearsal for high treason, insofar as the CPP is seeking to annex political power to run the affairs of this government of Ghana. I mean, do you understand where I'm coming from?
You mentioned that you actually have a lawsuit, so how far with it, and how is this going to, looking at the future for the CPP, what's the impact of this lawsuit on the CPP?
Well, ma'am, and I'm liking your questions. You see, what is happening here is that for a long time, okay, we have people at the helm who don't deliver on their basic obligations, including especially the reorganization of the party, so that we've never had polling station agents, polling station executives since 1992. Okay, it's one of the reasons why we don't perform well at elections, because, for instance, at the moment, the party exists at the constituency level upwards, and that's about 3,000 party officials. However, if the party was to organize itself at the polling station, 42,000 polling stations by 17 executives, we get about 640,000 officials at the polling station level. Indeed, if the party is completely organized as prescribed by the party constitution, we go to the polling station with about 880,000 officials. Now, Ivor Green Street got 12,000 votes the last time around with 3,000 officials by a factor of 4 if you multiply. So if that were the convention that we are using, then you could say that we have about 800,000 times 4 is 3.2 million potential votes for the CPP. That is our potential at minimum, if we adhere to constitutional norms. However, they don't do anything. Then at the last minute, people come aside and they say that, okay, we are forming an IMC. We are setting aside the constitution. All people, all members from the constituency regional should be at post. We've done this twice already. It also clogs the openings for younger people who want to rise up in the party, because there's a constituency chairman who is like a forever chairman. These are the realities in our party, the party that can save Ghana. So the truth is being told, the youth is being admonished to join the party so that we can save the party, which means organizing the party from the polling station upwards, so that we have the 880,000 potential officers to contest the elections, and we will win. So this is the story of the CPP, my sister, and Ghanaians. So what is happening is that we have Wing Commander Patrick Sogbojo, who has come in and says he is suspending the CPP constitution. For the love of God, if you can imagine it, instead of conforming to the constitution, he is wanting to suspend the constitution. So that is where the lawsuit is coming from. That where do you derive your power and authority to suspend the constitution? And these are some of the things we need to iron out. But at the end of it all, I can promise you that the CPP will organize from the polling station upwards for the first time this dispensation of the Fourth Republic. That is the story at hand right now. So I don't know, I be able to present a candidate, and if we do present a candidate, where is the structure that is going to support him?
Well, definitely we'll be looking forward to that. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Sylvester Sapon Soprano. He happens to be the Director of Communications for the CPP. Now, we're moving away from that and going back into the world of business. So earlier we discussed the issue on the government to lease the Commander Sugar Factory, and we actually have someone to be speaking to. He happens to be a former secretary to the board of directors at Commander Sugar Factory. I'm talking about none other than Ransford. So we'll be speaking to him shortly. We'll be right back. network challenges, we're unable to reach Ransford, but if we do get him, we'll definitely give you updated. Moving on to international waters. Following widespread protests against hunger and bad governance across Nigeria, a 24-hour curfew has been imposed in Kano State, in the country's second largest state. Now, the curfew, effective immediately, aims to restore order and ensure the safety after protests turned violent with looting and destruction of property reported in parts of the state. The protests, which began on August 1st, 2024, were sparked by the increasing cost of living and hunger affecting millions of Nigerians. And let's move away from that into the world of entertainment. After 13 years of imprisonment, Jamaican dancehall icon Vybz Kartel has been freed from prison. Now, the 48-year-old artist was convicted of murder in 2014 and sentenced to life in prison. However, in March 2024, a UK court overturned his conviction due to a biased juror, paving way for his release. Now, on Wednesday, July 31st, 2024, the Jamaican Court of Appeal unanimously decided not to retry Kartel and his co-defendants, stating that the interest of justice does not require a new trial to be ordered for the appellants. This decision effectively acquitted Kartel and his co-defendants. Well, thank you so much for staying with us. That's all we have for you in the Midday News today. But before we go, let's take a look at the headlines in case you missed anything. President Akufo-Addo reaffirms his commitment to ensuring a peaceful electoral process and transfer of power.
Prepare for the 2024.
Kolebu Hospital likely to face a shorthand in service delivery as allied health professionals threatening to withdraw all service today over what they term as management's refusal to offer direct positions to members. Electoral Commission opens window for presidential and parliamentary candidates to download nomination forms for filing as it schedules nomination of candidates to September 9th. And in business, Trade Minister K.T. Hammond slams former President Mahama over what he describes as a haphazard construction of the Commander Sugar Factory.
A lot of things went wrong with this factory.
And on the international front, we looked at Nigerian federal government imposes curfew after hunger protests held by citizens. These and many other stories that we looked at over here. Thank you so much for making time to watch the news. My name is Epifania Chokotokligui. Do have a lovely afternoon.